Hello and a very warm welcome to Meghan and Harry latest news. Today we see that Harry has lost part of a court case. Here we see Prince Harry lose his legal fight to be able to pay for police protection in the UK. It is not often you see people taking other people to court to allow them to pay for their services. When was the last time you saw that? Someone saying, "I want to pay you money out of my pocket for a service," and the reply is no, and then that person takes them to court to try and get them to allow them to pay for a service. It's very strange. Let's get this straight. The royal family over the years have cost the UK public billions of pounds in security, in protection. Billions. The firm, the royal family, the king, the queen, they don't pay for their security. The general public pay for it out of their taxes. They don't have a choice. The royal family don't pay anything for all the security they receive 24/7. And here we see Harry, who has left the firm, now finances himself. Harry offers to pay for security when he is in the UK and they refuse. He then takes them to court so that he can pay them money and he loses. Now, the reason Harry wants the UK security linked to the UK police and intelligence services is because they are more in tune with what's going on in the UK and with any security threats that they may be aware of in the UK. That makes perfect sense. It makes more sense than Harry hiring a US security team who will not be aware of UK police and intelligence security knowledge, who will have to liaison with the UK security services anyway if he was coming over. And Harry doesn't want the cost of UK police and security to be taken from the public and wants to pay for it himself. And well, this is the outcome. We also need to take note that these same security services work for big festivals and other organisations. So what is the problem? It sounds like an excuse. Maybe they just don't want to protect him. Maybe they don't want him coming over to the UK at all. It would make sense seeing that there is an international orchestrated smear campaign against him and Meghan, which has evolved into the dangerous precedent of paparazzi chasing them everywhere so they can line their pockets with ridiculous sums of money offered by the same toxic media orchestrating these campaigns. It says here Prince Harry has lost his bid to bring a legal challenge against the Home Office over its refusal to allow him to pay for police protection while in the UK. The Duke of Sussex was seeking permission to bring what would have been a second challenge relating to his security arrangements. Lawyers for Harry argued that the decision of the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, RAVEC, which deals with protection of royalty and public figures, that people should not be allowed to pay privately for their protective security and was unlawful. RAVEC had argued that public confidence would be undermined if it were believed that a wealthy individual could pay to receive protective security measures that they would not receive if they were less wealthy. It said allowing private funding would also reduce the availability of limited specialist resource in cases where it was deemed to be in the public interest. On Tuesday, in a written judgment, Mr. Justice Chamberlain refused Harry's permission to bring a judicial review over that decision. Among the grounds argued by the Duke's lawyers was that it contradicted Section 25(1) of the 1996 Police Act, which allows the Chief Officer of the Police to provide special police services subject to payment. But Chamberlain wrote, "In my judgment, the short answer to this point is that RAVEC did not say that it would be contrary to the public interest to allow wealthy individuals to pay for any police services. It can be taken to have understood that Section 25(1), to which it referred, expressly envisages payment for some such services. Its reasoning was narrowly confined to the protective security services that fall within its remit. Those services are different in kind from the police services provided at, for example, sporting or entertainment events, because they involve the deployment of highly trained specialist officers, of whom there are a limited number, and who are required to put themselves in harm's way to protect their principals. RAVEC's reasoning was that there are policy reasons why those services should not be made available for payment, even though others are. I can detect nothing that is arguably irrational in that reasoning." The Duke's lawyer also argued that Ravik's decision was procedurally unfair because their client should have been given an opportunity to make representations before it was taken, but Chamberlain rejected this argument, writing, "It is not obvious why fairness demanded that one particular principal be afforded the opportunity to make formal representations on that issue. The claim is related to another concerning Harry's security, challenging Ravik's refusal in a decision taken in February 2020 to provide him with the same degree of security beyond 31st of March 2020, after he and the Duchess of Sussex announced that they were stepping down from senior roles in the royal family. That case is currently awaiting trial after he was granted permission to proceed last year." The Duke also has 3 outstanding civil claims relating to alleged phone hacking. They are a case currently being heard against Mirror Group newspapers, MGN, and 2 against Associated Newspapers Limited, ANL, and News Group newspapers, NGN, respectively, which the organisations are attempting to prevent going to trial. Additionally, he is awaiting a decision in a libel claim against the Mail on Sunday concerning its reporting of the disagreement over his security arrangements. Harry's lawyers are seeking a summary judgment in his favour of the defence of Associated Newspapers to be dismissed on the basis that it has no chance of succeeding at trial. So that is a summary of the court case so far. We must remember that this is in the High Court in London, the Crown Court, the Royal Courts of Justice. These courts belong to the Crown, so Harry is playing on their patch of ground, which is not a fair playing field. Let me know your opinion below and I'll catch up with you tomorrow.